doing autism. So before I actually get started, I'm going to read an example because I think it sort of helps to provide an example first. When I went over to my new friend Courtney's house, I met her 4-year-old brother Bob. "Hi," I said, smiling. Bob looked at me but didn't say anything. Then he turned back to his action figures, all lined up except for his least favorite one he was chewing on. Later in Courtney's room, I said, "I don't think your brother likes me." "It's not your fault," she said. "It's not that he doesn't like you. Bob has autism and it's hard for him to talk sometimes. But I can show you how to play with him if you want." For the rest of the day, I just wanted to know what autism is, so I did a little research on it. Well, what is autism? Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a complex developmental disorder which includes impairments in social interactions, as stated by WebMD.com. Autism affects information processing in the brain by altering how nerve cells connect and organize. However, the problem is that we aren't sure how this occurs. What this does is that it affects a child's ability to communicate and interact with others. This brings us to signs that your child may have autism. There are many signs that your child has autism, which is going to occur in the first 3 years of your child's life. The child may not speak clearly in their spoken language and or has trouble with word mechanics. For example, a child might say "me cold" or simply "cold" instead of saying "I'm cold." They don't like to use pronouns. They will have little eye contact, if not at all. And they won't be very interested in peer relationships. You know how you guys have best friends and a group of friends? Well, autistic children prefer to be alone. And they might often spend hours looking at a small object, such as their favorite toy or blanket. Their hobbies might include collecting dry noodles or tissues. I don't know. Sometimes they won't even show affection to their own parents. So they'll just sit there and stare into space. And they often develop habits which may be hard to change, and they won't be used to minor changes such as a substitute teacher or their favorite toy moved from its usual spot. The reason why I put that picture there is because once you have one cause, it kind of just moves on to another, and it's like different for everything. So we're not totally sure what causes autism, but we do have some few possible things. Researchers generally accept that it's caused by abnormal brain structure function. It may be inherited, like if your mom or grandma had it, you might have it too. Or if you're a twin, your other twin might have it. And it may be caused by a certain gene or a group of genes. But we don't know that yet. Now let's move on to symptoms, or what could happen to an autistic child. Using prior knowledge, we know that autistic children don't like to communicate or interact with peers and prefer to be alone. If the child doesn't say single words or even sounds by 16 months, that's a good sign of autism. If they don't babble, coo, or gesture, or grab your finger or point to anything, by 12 months, that's another good sign. Instead of doing fun facts, I decided to put up little quotes because they're like fun to think about. And besides, I already put like fun facts with the whole presentation. So don't try to cure us, try to understand us. Does that make sense? Do these all make sense? Good. I'd like to have a special thanks to Autism Speaks, WebMD.com, and you guys for all listening to my presentation. If you got questions or comments?